Tyreek Hill would look like he was limping a little bit last week, and the quarterback situation there is much more uncertain and uncomfortable. So you gave me a layup, Greeny. I appreciate it.
All right, fair enough. Kmart, let's go to another one here. Two young stars. Who will have more passing yards, Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence?
I actually think Justin Herbert, now that is with an asterisk, as long as Mike Williams is playing. I just think right now he has more passing yards already. I think the Chargers are going to try to air it out and take advantage against this Jaguars defense. I think the Chargers will not Charger this weekend. I'm saying it now. They will not Charger.
So you like him? I mean, again, that's we'll see.
I don't know. I don't know.
Canty.
Wanted to say it with my chest, but
Who will have more total TDs, Dak or Brady?
I'm going with Tom Brady. Over the last 4 games, these two quarterbacks are neck and neck with passing touchdowns. Dak Prescott having 9, Tom Brady having 8. But I'm going with the guy that finished 3rd in the league in passing yards and the guy that was 1st in pass attempts this year. I think he'll have more chances than Dak to impact the game through the passing game.
Well, let's find out what's going on with Dak. Here's Jerry Jones talking about the interception issues his quarterback is suddenly facing.
It's in Dak's DNA not to turn the ball over. His famous story that I often repeat is that he said more often than not when his mother saw him in the kitchen, she'd say, "Remember, no turnovers." And so he's grown up thinking like that. So I have all the confidence in the world that he, as a player, has all the right balance of confidence or all the right balance of aggressiveness as it pertains to a turnover. He understands turnover better than all of us put together.
see,
That was a lot of words. I mean, that was just a lot of...
But it wasn't true. None of, I don't know about
like a word salad.
Well, here's what it is. When someone asks you a question, if it takes you a lot of words to answer that question, there's a problem.
Right.
So that was Jerry Jones' 40 seconds way of telling you, we got a problem here with Dak Prescott, and I don't understand it. Explain it to me. This is the one thing Jerry said in there that's 100% true. This has never been a problem for Dak Prescott before. Why is it suddenly one now?
Well, it comes down to the decision making, and Dan Orlovsky did a great job of outlining it earlier in the week. There are throws that Dak is making that he just shouldn't, based on the looks, the coverages that the defense is presenting.
I understand, but that's the opposite of what he's always been, Chris. Why is he suddenly a guy who's making bad reads when we have lauded the decision making for so long?
That's a great question. Maybe it has something to do with the absence that he had and missing 5 games earlier in the season, but he just has not been able to round into form, and you want to be playing your best ball when you're going into the playoffs. You can't say that about Dak Prescott. He had 14 completions and a pick 6 on Sunday against the Commanders in a situation where that team had absolutely nothing to play for. So I'm concerned, 15 total turnovers since week 8. And here's the other thing, Greeny. In the playoffs, Dak Prescott has played in 4 playoff games. He's got three turnovers. He's got turnovers in 3 of those games.
Yeah.
That is a problem. The best indicator for future performance is past performance. So Dak has been turning the ball over a lot in the second half of this season, and he turns the ball over a lot in the playoffs.
And that's obviously something they cannot afford. So, you know, Nick, it's weird because if you had told me before the season the Cowboys will have this or that problem, I might have believed you. If you had said the problem is going to be that Dak leads the league in interceptions, I would never have believed you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dak is putting a lot of pressure on himself, and he's trying to force plays because this offense puts a lot of pressure on him. I think that's part of the issue. I think also it's kind of a bit unlucky. There's a lot of players that quarterbacks put the ball in dangerous situations, and DBs drop them oftentimes. I know it's a joke that I don't appreciate about cornerbacks not being able to catch, but it's kind of true sometimes. They aren't dropping them now, and he's also doing really, really dumb, un-Dak-like things, like the pick 6 against the Eagles was like essentially a handoff to the defensive lineman. So, like, he needs to get over those issues, and I think some of the luck stuff will wear off.
And then to the point that Chris just made a minute ago here, D. Wood, Dan Orlovsky did a really good job of diagramming, like, simple reads that he's getting wrong, which, again, is the opposite of what we know Dak Prescott has been through most of his career. So how do you explain these struggles?
I mean, like, the simple thing would be, like, he's not seeing the field like he normally does because it's so uncharacteristic of Dak throughout his career to be turning the ball over at the clip he's turning the ball over right now. Also, I'm going to look at it as this way, too. Dallas defense is not playing, like, up to snuff like they once were. Like, you're starting to see, like, teams, like, driving the field, scoring points. And we know when you get in a situation like that, as a quarterback, you're all of a sudden pressed. I got to make plays because guess what? My defense hasn't been holding it down like once before. So I think all of those things are combining for the fact that Dak is just, he's just reckless with the ball right now.
Kmart, as you talk to people around the league, what are you hearing about this offense and this star quarterback in particular?
Well, obviously, everybody points to this doesn't look like the same Cowboys team that we saw early in the season, even midway through the season. When it comes to Dak, no one has answers as to the why, except he is just not doing what he's normally done. I do think there is pressure. I think when you have Jerry Jones, when your owner literally talks nonstop about the playoffs and the Super Bowl, and I think we talked about Mike McCarthy and is he on the hot seat? Really, Dak is always on the hot seat. Like this team goes as he goes, and I don't know what is.
I think
don't know what's happening.
We don't appreciate, like, we talk about like physical fatigue and like you can't ask too much of Lamar on the ground, but I don't think we appreciate the like intellectual and mental fatigue that it could come from asking a quarterback who, since he's really good at the mental part of the game, you're like, man, we can put a bunch in the offense in the game plan this week. We can have an answer for every single problem in every single like tough situation. Put it on Dak to figure out. I think part of it is like he doesn't get easy options that other quarterbacks get.
We asked Josh Allen, we asked Lamar, we asked Patrick Mahomes. Patrick, all those guys are asked to raise the level of their team.
Oh, no, I agree. I guess I'm talking about Josh Allen is not asked to read nearly as much as Dak Prescott is. Like, Josh Allen is, and so that's my point. It's like every third down to ask him to read an entire field is a lot to ask somebody to do consistently.
I'll say it. He doesn't run enough. They need to. He is an excellent runner with the football, both in trying to buy time, in creating offensive plays, and in actually running for first downs. They don't do that nearly enough. Josh Allen does it all the time. That's not him, but he should be doing much more of that.
This is a critical moment for Dak Prescott in his career. I don't think this is a referendum on whether or not he's a good quarterback, but this is a career-defining moment for Dak Prescott. Is he going to ascend to the level of Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes or those guys, or is he going to go the way of Kirk Cousins?
Then it is a referendum.
That's the question that we have to figure out.
Why does that face?
Did he say ascend to the level of Jalen Hurts?
He did. Well, I think
show's buddy over.
Why are you getting up?
Because that's a lot to handle.
He's processing. He's processing. Let me just sit with it.
Give me some space here. Ascend to the Jalen Hurts level?
Yeah, look, I think.
Woo! Boy, this show is popping this morning. I'll say that.
Here's what I say. I will give the floor to my esteemed colleague over here from the great state of Virginia, because before the season started, if you had said Dak needs to ascend to the level of Jalen Hurts, it would have sounded ridiculous. Right now, Jalen Hurts is a legitimate MVP candidate. Dak led the league in interceptions. I can't disagree with what you're saying, Canty.
No, I mean, Jalen Hurts was in the MVP conversation before he got hurt in Chicago. Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in that division. That's a problem when Jerry Jones is paying a quarterback $40 million. The Dallas Cowboys, since the last 3 years, have been able to say we have the best quarterback in the division. That's not the case anymore.
You almost took D Wood out, man.
Well, we almost lost D Wood there.
We almost lost D Wood.
Let me play you, because I've been talking about it. We were going to go to Jalen Hurts here anyway. I want you to hear the coach talking about the status of Jalen's shoulder, because that obviously is critical. Here's the coach.
We're fortunate that we have 2 weeks till the next time we play. He's going to be a little bit more healthy than when he was, obviously the other day. He came out of that game sore because it's still healing. We didn't feel like we were putting him at any more risk of getting more injured, but we knew it was going to hurt him like hell, and he knew it was going to hurt him like hell.
Okay, so quite simply, what is exactly riding on the health of the shoulder of Jalen Hurts?
The NFC Championship, like which team represents the NFC in the Super Bowl, it will be determined by how Jalen Hurts' shoulder feels. I think that the Eagles are the best team in the conference when he's healthy and he's playing at his best. And I think that includes the 49ers. If he is not healthy and he's not playing at his best, this team is very, very beatable.
So let me circle back and tie the two conversations together, because D Wood, you seemed thrown.
That's a good way.
When Chris Canty said that Dak has to ascend to that level, but I think it's a reasonable way of looking at it. Dominique just said that Jalen Hurts will decide if he's healthy, they're the best team, and if he's not, they're not. I mean, Jalen Hurts has been that good, right?
He has been that good. I still question whether. I don't think there's much difference between the Eagles and the 49ers. I don't. I don't think there's much difference between the two. But I will say, for the Eagles' sake, Jalen Hurts better be 100%, and everything better be available to the Eagles because if they don't have the design runs and the unique ability that Jalen Hurts is not going to be able to be on display, they are not coming out of the NFC.
What do we know about how healthy he actually is? The coach just said he hurts like hell.
Yeah. Well, that's the benefit for the Eagles.